What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to the channel. So we're jumping in with my first impressions on the solo leveling Arise game that recently released for global. Let's jump in, let's talk about it. So let's start off with what kind of game this is. It's essentially an action, I wouldn't call it RPG, it's just an action game with kind of like very set linear paths, but there's a lot of systems basically in place. I'm a little disappointed that we basically got the first game that we had for this entry to be a mobile gacha game. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, if you could think about it, this is me being frank and honest. The game is highly enjoyable. Definitely gives Devil May Cry type vibes, right? But if I was to reasonably look at the game for what it is, I would have to tell you someone basically took Devil May Cry and then they sold you bits and pieces of the game in terms of in-game microtransactions. Could we have gotten the same game without all the microtransactions? You most certainly could have. That's essentially how I think of this game when you go into it. It's basically like somebody basically took a Devil May Cry game and then they piecemealed down everything that they could to do microtransactions. Here goes, I'll give you examples of that, for instance. So the #1 gacha system in the game is not really related to the hunters. Let's be honest about that. I don't think that you should, if you are paying for anything in here, I do not believe that you should be so concerned with investing in hunters. I think you should be far more concerned with investing in the weapons. So let's go take a look at this real quick. So by and large, when you're playing the game, you're going to notice that you're going to be getting, you've basically played the main story of the game. Matter of fact, it's easier to take a look at that. By the way, #1 complaint about the game right now is all the goddamn loading animations. Like, you load almost for everything you do. So what's going to happen here is you've got a couple of missions, right? And you're going to basically play story mode missions where you're basically following along with the chapters in the game. It's presented beautifully. Excuse me, the chapters in the manhwa is presented beautifully. So you get like a main cut down version through the main chapter storylines. And then as you play, you basically get like some of the side chapters, which delves a little bit deeper into building the world and building some of the side characters. In the main storyline, you're going to primarily play as Sung Jin-woo along his journey. And in the side chapters, as you expect, you're going to probably play with the side heroes that were presented in the manhwa at that time, and you'll get a little bit more backstory inside of into the characters here. Now, in the side chapters, all of the characters are going to be offered up as demos. So you'll notice that you'll pick up a character and it'll be appropriately set for where the level of that character is supposed to be at this point in the story, and it'll use whatever required equipment, and that's what it would be. It's not like you can make some changes minorly to those characters and that's it, but that's it really. If you have the character on hand already, then it's just that character is required, but for the large part, it'll be a demo type character that they'll just give to you. The missions will have some like some form of requirements for you to complete in order for you to earn more essence stones. And here goes the thing. The game will force you into becoming good at evasion. You will learn how to hotkey and quick key evasion skills in here. That's the large majority of the game. They will force you to not get hit but so many times. I guess they think you're supposed to become completely immortal in here. You will learn that the evasion game. And I'm speaking to you like this because me and my wife love the solo leveling manhwa, and she's enjoying watching the anime, and so I jumped into this game completely biased from there because I enjoyed the story, as many probably have. And that was the one thing I had to explain to her when we were playing. I was like, she's watching me play, she's like, man, they're forcing you to be good at evasion, huh? And so, like, take that for what it is, right? So along that route, you basically are going to be unlocking stories and completing side chapter quests. As you unlock these stories and progress through the game, you're going to basically power up Sung Jin-woo. Sun Jin Woo is going to be powered up by a number of methods inside the game, and they're going to sell you on the methods to sell to level up this character. So for instance, the attribute points constantly level up, but you really only need one attribute for Sun, and that's his strength. It kind of falls out from the story because I wanted to see more in terms of intelligence and, you know, his strength and intelligence take a play into how he plays. You're also going to be leveling up skills, but guess what? As you level up these skills, they're going to have a number of items that you're going to have to grind your fucking ass off inside gates to get, or you're going to end up inside of a shop or something like that trying to purchase them, whether they're runes or whether they're just like skill scrolls to level up your skills, or whether they're stones, blessings, or otherwise. And then you're going to acquire Sun Jin Woo's weapons that he's basically had throughout the storyline, and you're required, guess what, to level up those. So these are also going to come with gates on them, just like everything else in the game. Basically, that's what it is. Everything that you could think about inside like Devil May Cry, whether you got a new weapon or you unlocked a new skill, they're all gated at a certain point for things. So like if I pull up the weapons, for instance, right, you'll notice here at level 40, there's a gate. In order to get past that gate, I need to basically have to level break. I need items to level break that item. Once I have those items, then I need the ability to level up those items, and I need these items here that I need to get from gates. And you can grind these obviously from the gates, but you know it's going to take you some time, quite some time. You're also going to be able to advance these. We've seen this like ad nauseum inside games. So get any of these extra ones through the gacha system, and you're basically going to be able to use those inside here, and then you'll be able to salvage them when you no longer need them, because there's no sense in having more than one weapon realistically, or one type of that weapon. So that's the main rotation of the game. Now, what you'll end up doing is you'll end up getting some of the other characters from the show as well, and I'll give them credit in this regard. They did two ways of getting this. So they're going to release custom based characters like Cha Hae-in and their Bak Yoonhoo. I'm sorry to the Koreans if I'm just balling this. And these are going to be rate up summons. So these are basically, look at these as like limited rate ups. And then you have like the custom rate up where you can select weapons and characters from a pool that you basically want. These are not like the limited characters, and you basically get these items in game. So there's never really any reason to basically spend money to try to get these items specifically, because you're going to get enough of them where you're going to be getting pulls from these, and they have a pity system. So every so few 80 draws, you'll basically guarantee to get an SSR, whether that's a weapon or whether that's an actual a hunter. So like there are obviously tiers to these. By and large, you'll see yourself getting a lot of these SR hunters throughout. The system I wouldn't say it's generous, but it's not totally bad either in terms of the rates, to be perfectly honest with you. Like I got lucky from the rate up system inside here, and I unlocked Choi Jong-in. Didn't realize that I was going to do that. Then each of these hunters themselves need to be leveled up as well, because they do play as members to your team. So if you basically jumped into the hunters, you'll basically see there's a pool here, and all of these members basically get set to teams. So you're going to set 3 of these teams, and then you also have to equip them with artifacts that you'll grind from gates, and those have to be leveled up. They also have gates on them. So like you can see here, if I want to enhance this gear, I need to have a specific type of icon or artifact enhancement tool. I can get this from a number of places, but it's more than likely a gate is where you as a free-to-play player would be farming these from. Outside of those, yes, I do need to level up their weapons as well. I need to level up some of their skills as well. And some of these characters are going to have skills that you want to level up, especially like if you see break skills, because I want to basically break down the shield meter that any of the heroes have. By and large, it's not that bad leveling them up. The only thing comes into when you want to get their weapons. Each of the character does have their unique weapons available to you in the game, and you can craft those weapons. So I enjoy this system inside here because it gives you something to kind of grind towards, right? So you can see here, like all the hunter's weapons are set aside from Sun Jin Woo's weapons. And so like I can see the weapons here. I have the ones for Emma Laurent, and then I have the ones for Cha Hae-in. Cha Hae's I received differently than I did Emma's. So like Emma's I crafted, Cha I got from the event that they're running inside the game for her, the bingo board that they have going around, and completed that. So you'll see that leveling up to craft these weapons, it's a decent system. Like on standalone, there's nothing wrong with the system, but let's take a look at it real quick. So if we were to come over to the craft section over here, you'll notice that you'll be able to craft the items inside game. So you can see here, this is like crafting some of like the increased skill scrolls. So notice that there's a skill scroll for level 3, there's a skill scroll for level 2, because they basically gate you leveling up the skills through these. And if it was just a single player game like Devil May Cry and this was the way they were gating it, cool, but with a little bit of monetary and grind effort inside there, because guess what? Hey, I need these advanced mana crystals. Well, go look at what the source is. They're just inside the mana crystal exchange shop. So they're not even available in gates to you. So like these items you can get from a red gate, and you can get them from the celebration coin exchange inside the shop as well. But if I was to look at the weapons inside here, you can see these are like Sword of Light weapons. So I want to craft this. This is a current event that's going in game for Cha Hae-in. So if I do the event and I'm making my way around, I'll unlock these weapon designs and I'll be able to craft a weapon. I got the weapon another way, so this will be basically be a stack on top of that one. Now if I look at each of the heroes, they all have the ability for their weapons to be crafted. So even if you were to pull on Howling White Tiger, you could still get his weapon from the craft shop. You just need to get these hunter exclusive weapon designs. They're going to be in your weapon shop, they're going to be inside the shop, or they're going to be obtained from playing the Battlefield of Time, or you purchase them, right? You also need these dark, like each of them have different ones depending on the character's class, whether it's a dark mana crystal, power crystal, and you can see you get those from Battlefield of Time, or unlocking some of these mana power crystal selection chests basically in game, and that'll basically unlock the ability for you to get these. I would basically tell you to not look at a tier list necessarily to figure out which, because some of the characters, yes, they're powerful, but you're not forced, but you have to play these characters. And if you don't like the way they play, it kind of like takes away. So like, for instance, Choi Jung-un, he's considered meta inside of his class. But to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't have that much fun playing as him. Like, he's definitely powerful, but I just didn't have as much fun playing with him. So it wasn't like, you know, I'd rather play as Emma, for instance, than it was play as him. Like I unlocked Dong, what's his name? I can't even remember his name. Dong Hae-suk, I can't remember his name quite correctly. I unlocked him. It wasn't like I was expecting to enjoy playing with him. He was a big character in the manhwa, and that like side throwaway to basically say like, hey, Sung Jin basically eclipsed this tier. Not fun to play at all. Like, to be perfectly honest, not my play style anyways. So there's those considerations, right? So on the large, as I'm playing through, they definitely give you a number of things like, hey, even collecting your shadows, for instance, or your your army level, you can level up these characters by collecting these shadow energies and so forth in the game, and that will level up your total power of your army inside the game. You have to collect shades because these are consumed every time that Sun Jin Woo uses any of the members inside the army. And you have to level up the individual characters that you unlock in terms of leveling up their total levels individually using these traces of shadows, which is going to level up the number of army numbers that they summon and then increase their skills as well. So you'll end up having to promote these characters the same way Sun Jin Woo did. Getting these items are a little bit easier because they are automatically gained from entering gates and stuff after you reach a certain level, so it's not necessarily bad. You'll also notice that your army total power is going to be upgraded by you collecting these abyssal fragments. You notice that they're also available inside game, but these are a little bit of grind elements inside the game. Ultimately, overall, there are a number of different game modes inside of the game. To be perfectly honest with you, they're really good game modes. I would have to say that at least for me, let me be honest about that, at least for me, the game modes are appealing. and it's mostly because I like things like horde mode, onslaught inside Destiny. So those things feel really good. Like some of them feel just about the same. Like a gate doesn't feel any different to me than necessarily an encore mission. The encore missions are like field bosses. You have instance dungeons and stuff like that. You got the battlefield trials, which is just like a progressively harder system. I haven't unlocked some of the other ones down here, and these right. But I would say the game overall is very appealing. There's a lot on the bone for you to enjoy, and you can do most of it as free to play. Just expect to grind and be behind some of your favorite content creators and stuff like that that you see online who are probably paying somewhat to play. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, I've definitely paid to play into the game content because I've like literally been devoted to the game since launch, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. Like I am enjoying it, so I'm gonna give them my $60-$70 that would have normally paid for a full game. However, that's where the problem ends, right? Is that they do sell you a whole lot inside their shop. There's a lot to be sold inside of the shop. Everything that you basically have inside of this shop is battle passes, battle passes, battle passes, leveling passes, leveling passes, leveling passes, so that way you can gain more efficiency to accelerate to the game. Now, the whole thing that I have that my main gripe about is, what are we accelerating towards? That's essentially what it is. That like, I'm like, what are we accelerating towards? If you've read the solo leveling manhwa, there's an end. I think like the main story was only like 179 chapters or something like that. I think it was, yeah, maybe like 100, maybe not even 179 truly. And it was like maybe like 160 chapters. And then like they basically like jumped over to another kind of bit where it's like, did that really need to be chapters and done? And then they jumped over to another type of event that you were like, okay, this is like a continuum, but I didn't really need this maybe. So it's like questionable in terms of what are we accelerating towards, in terms of what are they going to give them. So is this like, are we going to get more story for solo leveling presented through us through the game? Or I know they plan on releasing OG type hunters inside the game and stuff like that, but who I want to play is Sun Jin Woo. And so that's my main gripe. My first impression about the game, it's a great game. Just think Devil May Cry presented in mobile fashion and mobile form. It's great. Think about Devil May Cry and then them piecemealing you every bit of item and providing a gate to every bit of item that they could, which I think sets a dangerous precedence, and then trying to sell you on those items by purchasing them in shop or whatever. And then think about like Devil May Cry, basically where you go ultimately in the story. Remember, this is based off of content. So by paying for that acceleration and them accelerating those pieces, you may end up in a place where it feels like it was just a dump and drop. Like they could have released a full-on solo leveling game, told the full-on solo leveling story in Devil May Cry type fashion, and sold you maybe a pass or something like that one time, and they could have got their drop quick buck. But instead they chose to basically release it with gates. And I will say, it's still very fucking fun to play because it's Devil May Cry. If you play Devil May Cry and you like the combo system and you like everything about that, trying to keep a combo going, you will like this game and it'll feel very addicting. So I get why the idea basically was there. I'm not exactly particularly happy with the with the expression of it. I think I would have much rather preferred you give me the game in a complete package and then sold me on individual hunters who I could have rerun the game through by you releasing OG characters, or maybe working in collaboration with the author to basically do more story content that was specific for the game going through. That would have probably been a better idea in my opinion. But first impressions, game is pretty good. I like it overall. I would probably give it a solid 7 overall. The gacha systems in the games and the time gating on things just feel like they're just shoehorned in. Like, we getting to this stage of gacha where it's like they know that people are building these tier lists and things like that. So the incentive to basically pull, or the fear of missing out, to pull on every individual character is not as strong as it used to be. Like, I don't need to pull on Beck. If I miss out on him, cool, no problem. I'll wait for the big. So like Black Clover is the perfect example. Do I need all the characters in between, or do I really want to hit the milestone characters like like Asta's black form and, you know, Julius's form, and then Marilona basically coming to the game. That's essentially where they're at. And so now if you look at a lot of the landscape of mobile gacha gaming, it's basically selling you items. They're basically gacha rolling you into items. So I gotta gacha roll you into, you know, selling you equipment pieces, gacha rolling you into time gating, and you paying for the convenience of skipping that gate. There's gonna hit a limit where players themselves are gonna have to decide what is for them and what's not for them, and where their wallets lay. It's up to you guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you get a good impression of the game. Like I said, solid 7 out of 10 performance to me. The game graphically looks amazing, plays absolutely amazing, except for all the freaking load screens. Hopefully they fix that. God, I hope they fix that. And then minus the gacha. The gacha is like a drag down on the game. I would have much rather Netmarble had done a AA, AAA title release of Solo Leveling and basically sold me on DLC for me to replay the story with these other characters, or got the author to make up stories for the other characters that I could have played through. So those would have been divergent paths. I think that would have been a great idea to be able to say, like, here's Cha-Hae-In and here's her journey outside of what Sun Jin-Woo was. We came up with this original story from the author for Cha-Hae-In to explain her past, her future, and everything in between within the universe. So you're gonna pay, you know, $21.99, whatever, or $19.99, $30, $29.99 for the DLC of Cha-Hae-In, and this is a story that's gonna, you know, span so many chapters, blah blah blah. I would have much rather preferred that than them to nickel and dime you on, you know, weapons and time gates and things like that. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. This is just my first impression. I will do a deeper dive into this to look at some of the things individually to kind of explain them in depth more as I'm playing through the game. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, peace.